All right, Shalom. First and foremost, only of all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakadosh. Of honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, priest of salutation to the Akim, to the elect, that scattered throughout the four corners of this earth, pushing this truth, in faith and in all sincerity. I'm the brother Shema from the GMS Houston camp, and this lesson is going to be entitled, Thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee. Now, when I get the scripture here in Luke, that's going into this account, of where I got this phrase from, and explain it, and explain what happened, and the history behind it, briefly, but also, the spiritual aspect, behind this, okay, and how this event, will happen again. All right. You read here in Luke 19:42, saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least in this day, well, I started 41, and when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. This is Yahweh Shai, right? He's in Jerusalem. Okay, let me see something. Yeah, this is Yahweh Shai, he's in Jerusalem. And he's about to begin, speaking unto, the Israelites, right? It says, saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. All right, because he's seen everything, that was going to take place. Okay, and he was basically trying to get them to, believe in him. Okay, he's doing the miracles, he's trying to teach, all right, but you had a lot of people, that was rejecting them. Okay, but they didn't know the tragedy that was about to happen right in the future. All right. But he said, for the days shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee round and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. So this is going into 70 AD, right? The Romans came against, Jerusalem. They besieged Jerusalem, right? Destroyed the temple and all of that, right? But when you go into this, no one was able, to come in or to leave out. So whoever was in there couldn't leave. And it stated that they did this during the time, of the Passover, and that's when, you had everyone had to come to Jerusalem, just like it says in the law, 3 times a year, right? And they had their particular feasts that you would have to come to Jerusalem. All right, it was a requirement, right? So, and the Passover was one of them. Okay, let me see. So let me pull that up real quick. All right, you got here Deuteronomy 16:16. All right, it says, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yahweh thy power in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, which is, the Passover, right? Because, on the night of the Passover, simultaneously, the feast of unleavened bread start too. That's why we eat the unleavened bread. It says, and in the feast of weeks and the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before Yahweh empty. So during this time, a lot of people will be traveling to Jerusalem, and this is, when it happened. All right, so a lot of people got caught up in this. So, and usually when the siege happens, if nothing can come in and nobody can come out, there's no food. All right, coming in. There's no water, no none of this. Right, so the essential thing that you need to survive is basically cut off. Okay, And this is what they did to defeat us. All right. So the Romans came, like I said, they besieged the place, and the people, it was just nothing but chaos, was then, Jerusalem. All right. It was, people had to resort to, eating their children, eating leather, because they were hungry. All right. It was starving them out. Okay. And like I said, these things will happen again, but not in this manner. Okay. Because the Romans, which, Rome reincarnated today, right, is America. Okay. Will come against the temple again. When you go to 2 Peter, just a second, no, 1 Peter. When you go to 1 Peter 2 and 5, ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahushua Mashiach. All right, so it says built up a spiritual house. So this is a spiritual temple. The temple that they destroyed was physical. They actually came in, took the silver and the gold, right, and took all of the, the precious things up out of there. All right, and that's where you get the archetypes from. They drew everything, right, and you had a coin that said Judah captive. Okay, meaning they basically conquered us. Okay, so they were able to actually come in, to a physical temple, right? But this time it's spiritual, and they will try to come up against it again. But you can't destroy something, right, that is spiritual. Okay, but they will try to cast that trench though. When you go to Revelation 13:16, he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right now, this is going, into the digital system, right? The charagma, right, which is what this word goes into, right, which they want to implant, under your skin. Okay, when you go into this word, charagma, okay, and it says a scratch and etching a stamp, a sculpted figure. So it has to be, like it says, graven. It has to be graven. It has to, be punctured. It has to puncture something. All right. When you go into this word, karax, the root word of it, right? What does that say? It says sharpened to a point through the idea of scratching a stake, a palisade, right? Military mouth for circumvallation, in a siege, a trench. When you go back to Luke 19, or when you go into the word trench, what is it? It's karax. Same word in Revelation 13:16. Right? A stake. This is something that they use, the actual, build the trench, of course, right? But this is the same word for the root word, and for charagma, it's karax, all right? It's the same definition. A pale or a stake, a palisade, right? And they will actually take this and put it into the ground, stab it into the ground. And this is going to be the delivery system, right, for this digital, this device that they want to implant, right? This is how they're going to get it in your skin. Okay. And it's going to be required for everybody, right, to get this. All right, because this is what society is going to move towards. Okay, because all the information is going to be on there, which is going to lead to the next root, right? Grapho. What does this say? To write with reference to the form of letters. So this is the information. This is you. This is your life, all wrapped up into this. Forget about having an ID or a driver's license or a social security card or birth certificate or bank statement, all these documents, all of these, things you got to have on paper and this. No, it's going to be on this. This is how you're going to be identified. You're going to have a particular number within the system. It's going to show everything about you and so much more, right? And this is the control that they want. And this is how we know that it's talking about that digital device, because it just laid it out simple. When you just going into the root words, it points directly to that. All right. But it says, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to operate in this society without having this. You're going to be cut off from buying food. You're going to be cut off from buying water. You're going to be cut off from these things. You're going to be cut off from a job. All right. A lot of us will be put out, be homeless. Okay. And it's all, like it says in Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this is the trying. He's trying to get you to submit. That's why I said he caused it all. He's trying to get you to submit. When they did the trench back in 70 AD, it was to get our people to submit. Eventually, they knew it was going to work if no food or no water was going to come in. All right, but that was a part of prophecy, and that was supposed to happen. Right? Paul spoke about that falling away. That had to happen. We had to come over here. That had to happen. All right, but this time, man, it's going to be different. All right, it is going to be different because Yahushua is coming to save us. Okay. But then also here, when you read in Revelation 13:15, he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, right? This Roman system coming back, upgraded with technology and all this digital stuff, right? And also, it's a part of their NWO, okay? That agenda. All right, it caused as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right, so you can actually going to be unaliving people, okay, or they can just cut you off from society. All right, you be demonized and all of that, right? Just for not doing this, not taking that device, okay. So this is that trench being laid. He's cornering you to where you have nowhere to go. But we know that the scriptures say what? The Most High said, "What my servants shall eat, my servants shall drink." The Lord is going to show up for us and provide for us in these times, right? Like I said, that's the Isaiah 65 that I just quoted, right? You can read that, okay? And Matthew, the 24th chapter, right, says that Yahushua is coming with those chariots to deliver his elect, right? Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sun. Start 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, meaning coming in them chariots, the chariots of Israel. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, right, from one end of the heaven to the other. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. The Lord is coming to deliver his elect in these times. Right? It's not going to be like 70 AD, to where we're just going to be, tried down, taken over. Nah, bro, this is different. This is the end. Okay. Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, right? Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai shall lift up a standard against them. So the Lord is going to be with his elect in this day. He's going to be with his men, his prophets. He's going to give certain men abilities to combat this devil. All right, he's going to take, divine intervention, spiritual intervention. The Lord is going to have to intervene in this. He's going to intervene. 70 AD didn't intervene. Like I said, prophecy had to take place. We had to come over here. This man had to build this system, right? All of these things had to take place. We had to go through slavery. Okay, we had to go through the great, what they say, the Great Awakening, right, and wake back up to our heritage, and then start condemning this man, is prophesying about the destruction, and then it happens, right? He still had to come with this digital system, the Karagma, right? So that falling away had to happen. But now, since we're risen back up, there's no more falling away. There's no more being in subjection. This is our last captivity. All right. Lamentations 4 and 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, right? Talking about, so-called, white race, okay? Whoever see you goes back unto Edom, right? But this is how you identify them. All right. That dwelleth in the land of Uz. Well, whoever see you goes back unto Esau. Okay. All right. But it says that dwelleth in the land of Uz, the cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. Right. He's being exposed on a high level. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sin. So the Israelites are about to be taken out of captivity and no longer go into captivity again. We're gonna inherit the kingdom of heaven forever. That's what's coming. So he's not going to destroy this temple. All right. He's not going to conquer this temple. He's not going to have us submit to him in these times. All right, because the Lord is going to fight for us. All right, so hope that was edifying. Hey, with that, I'm going to say shalom.